Rose of Sharon, also known as Hibiscus syriacus, is one of those flowering shrubs that brings so much beauty to the garden with minimal effort. If you've ever wanted a reliable, long-blooming plant that fills your space with vibrant color, this is it. But to get the best out of it, you need to know how to plant it right, care for it through the seasons, and prune it properly to maximize its flowering potential. Let's dive into everything you need to know about growing and pruning Rose of Sharon for the most breathtaking blooms. The key to a thriving Rose of Sharon starts with location and soil. This plant loves full sun, so pick a spot where it will get at least 6 hours of direct sunlight every day. While it can tolerate partial shade, you'll notice fewer flowers if it doesn't get enough light. Well-draining soil is another must. If your garden tends to hold water, consider amending the soil with compost or planting in a raised bed. When it comes to planting, timing matters. The best time to plant Rose of Sharon is in early spring or fall when temperatures are milder. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball and just as deep. Gently loosen the roots before placing the plant in the hole, then backfill with soil and water deeply. A layer of mulch around the base will help retain moisture and keep weeds at bay. Rose of Sharon is pretty drought-tolerant once established, but young plants need regular watering. During the first growing season, aim for about an inch of water per week. Established plants can handle dry spells, but a deep soak every now and then will keep them looking their best, especially during hot summers. Fertilizing is another way to ensure an abundance of blooms. A balanced fertilizer, such as 10-10-10 in early spring, gives the plant a good start for the growing season. If you want even more flowers, a second feeding in midsummer with a phosphorus-rich fertilizer will do the trick. Just be careful not to over-fertilize, as too much nitrogen encourages more foliage at the expense of flowers. Pruning is where a lot of gardeners go wrong with Rose of Sharon. If you prune it at the wrong time, you could be cutting off next season's flowers. The best time to prune is in late winter or early spring before new growth starts. This shrub blooms on new wood, meaning the flowers develop on branches that grow in the same season. Pruning in late winter encourages strong new growth, which leads to more flowers. To prune effectively, start by removing any dead or damaged branches. Then, thin out the interior by cutting out weak or crossing branches. This allows better airflow, which helps prevent disease. If you want to control the size or shape of the plant, cut back the branches by up to 1/3. For a more compact shrub with large, showy blooms, you can prune it even harder. Rose of Sharon responds well to rejuvenation pruning. While Rose of Sharon is relatively low maintenance, a few issues can pop up. Aphids and Japanese beetles love this plant, but they're easy to control with insecticidal soap, or by simply blasting them off with a strong stream of water. If you notice yellowing leaves, check for overwatering or poor drainage. These are the most common causes. Powdery mildew can also be an issue in humid climates, but good air circulation and regular pruning help keep it at bay. Another thing to keep in mind is that Rose of Sharon can self-seed aggressively. If you don't want seedlings popping up all over your garden, deadhead spent flowers before they set seed. Some newer cultivars are sterile, which means you won't have to worry about them spreading. If you want your Rose of Sharon to bloom more and longer, consistency is key. Keep up with watering during dry spells, fertilize at the right times, and prune correctly. Deadheading, removing spent flowers, can also encourage new blooms to form, although it's not absolutely necessary. Another trick is to plant your Rose of Sharon in a warm, sunny location that's protected from strong winds. Since the flowers are large and delicate, they can get damaged by harsh weather. A sheltered spot helps the blooms last longer and look their best. If you have limited space, Rose of Sharon can do surprisingly well in a large container. Choose a pot that's at least 18 inches wide with good drainage. Use a high-quality potting mix and make sure to water more frequently, as potted plants dry out faster than those in the ground. Fertilize monthly during the growing season to keep it thriving. You'll also want to prune potted Rose of Sharon regularly to maintain its shape and prevent it from outgrowing its container. Rose of Sharon is quite hardy and can withstand cold winters, but if you live in a region with extremely harsh winters, a little extra protection can help. Apply a thick layer of mulch around the base in late fall to insulate the roots. If you're growing it in a container, consider moving the pot to a sheltered location or wrapping it with burlap for added protection. Growing and pruning Rose of Sharon isn't complicated, but doing it the right way makes all the difference. With the right care, you'll be rewarded with months of stunning blooms that attract hummingbirds, butterflies, and admiring glances from anyone who passes by. Whether you're planting it in the ground, keeping it in a container, or shaping it into a hedge, this resilient shrub is a fantastic addition to any garden. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Botanical Bliss for more gardening tips and tricks. Share this video with fellow garden lovers so they too can enjoy the beauty of Rose of Sharon in their own space. Happy gardening!